Hi guys. Hi. So I can't be out there with you, but this will help, I think, to kind of bridge the gap between the two groups. So I want you to just pay attention and copy this down. I know we've copied it down before, but I want you to do it again. So it's easier for you to remember. So these are just a couple of steps that'll help you solve the algebra equations. So the first step that we need to do is get the variable, and we know variables are either usually like y or x on one side, okay? Now in order to do that, when we move numbers over, we do the opposite. I'm going to do a couple practice problems too, so that should make sense, okay? And then 3, use PEMDAS to solve. I know you guys know what PEMDAS is, but just in case, you don't have to write this down, the PEMDAS part. Parentheses, E is for exponent, M, multiplication, D, division, A, adding, and S, subtraction. Okay. So once you have all of this down, you should pause this, and once you have all of this down, then play it again, because we're going to go over a couple of problems. All right, so here's the first problem that we're going to go through. This one's a relatively easy one. Sorry for the handwriting. So our first step is to get y on one side. And it's on one side, but we need to get it alone. So in order to do that, we go to step 2, and we move this number over. And if we move it over, we have to do the opposite of whatever this is. Okay, and some of you were getting this yesterday, but it was important to remember that we only change the sign if we move it over. So I'm going to change it to subtraction, and then I'm going to put the number, obviously. Now, once I do that, this disappears. This goes away because I moved it over. All right? And so now we just use PEMDAS to solve, and since there's only one problem or one sign, we don't even need to use PEMDAS. So what's 2 minus 2? We know that that is 0. So y equals 0. Now that was relatively easy, okay? So I'm going to do another harder one. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit harder. But we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go step by step. So I want to get y on one side, and in order to do that, I have to move some numbers over. Okay, so we already know that I have to move this 2 over. And once I do that, just like the one before, I have to change this sign to subtraction. And then all of a sudden, because I did that, this goes away. Okay. So now we're left with 2y equals 2 minus 2. Okay. So I'm not going to do any solving yet. Okay. So I realized that I made a mistake when I was recording this, so I had to stop it. We are going to do some solving. I showed you this. Oh no. So I'm going to go back to where we were. Oh no. I'm sorry, guys. Just 1 second, give me a chance. This is all very new to me. Okay, so 2y equals 2 minus 2. That's where we stopped, okay? And so we actually are going to do this. All right, so 2 minus 2 is what? You should know this. Is 0, okay? So we've already come to this. This is where we're at right now. All right? Now, some of you can infer what the solution will be, but let's keep going. So yesterday I talked a little bit about why well, 2y is actually the same thing, so it's equal to 2 times y. And they write it 2y in algebra because a lot of times in algebra they use the variable x. And x looks a lot like the multiplication symbol, okay? So instead of using the multiplication symbol, they just they smash it all together, and they say 2y, okay? So now we know that this means 2 times y, and because we're technically moving this over, the opposite of 2 is division. The opposite of multiplication is division, sorry. And so I'm putting this there just to show you. And then I move it over, so I go 0 divided by 2. And so once I move that over, this all goes away. Okay, so this all goes away, and I'm stuck with y equals 0 divided by 2. And because we're smart, we know that anything divided by 0 is going to be 0. So our answer is y equals 0. Okay, so we're going to do another one because that one might be a little confusing because I had to stop and reverse. So let's try it again, another one. So I'm going to clear this page. Let me get the problem, one sec. All right, so this one is going to be on the worksheet that I'm giving you. And so I just wanted to go through it very quick. So find this one. I can't remember what number it is. Let me check. It is not, it's number 1A. All right, so this one uses a different variable, and the variable is t, so it doesn't have to be x, and it does not have to be y, okay? So the first thing that we want to do is get the variable on one side. It doesn't matter what side it is. It doesn't have to be the left side. It can be the right side. So what we know about 10t is that it really is equal to what? When we smush together the number and the variable, it means 10 times t. I'm sorry for the writing. I'm trying my hardest. Okay? 10 times t. Got it? So opposite of multiplication, because we're going to technically move it over, is division. So we do that. And once we do that, it gets rid of this 10. But I still have to go over here and do this. Okay, so this is going to give us a weird, I think it's going to give us a weird decimal number because we actually have to solve this, I think. Sometimes in algebra you don't solve it and you just leave it like that, like 4/10, and I would take that as a correct answer because if we divide it, it's going to give us it'll just give us 0.4. So the answer is either 4/10 or 4/10 or 0.4. Okay, whichever one you want. Let's do one of the harder ones on the worksheet, and then I'm going to let you guys work alone. Okay, so let's pull that up. I think I can do this without pausing you. Okay, so let's pick, let's do this one, 5B. It's kind of a harder one. Okay. Ooh, we have, this is a harder one. And I think that I might not have you do this one. No, let's do it because you guys can do this. I know you can do this. Okay, so let's try it, all right? Okay, so we want to get the variable on one side. Well, we have a 5z plus 7z. All right, so when we add, we can just add. So it does mean 5 times z, okay? But we can also just add these together. So it will be, what's 5 plus 7? 12z, okay? So when, I'm trying real hard to explain this to you because it's kind of weird because you think, oh, it's 5 times z plus 7 times z. But if you just put them both together because they're both, they both have the variable attached to it, then it's okay, all right? So it's 12z, and some of you are realizing what our answer is going to be, equals 12. And now it's 12 times z, so we know the opposite of multiplication is division. So we divide it by 12, we divide it by 12. This goes away because it's going to be 1z and we don't have to put 1. So it's z equals, and then whatever 12 divided by 12 is, which we know is 1 because we're all very smart. Okay, so I want you to do your best on the worksheet. If you have questions, ask Miss Di or Miss Michelle. They are very smart. They can help you. And then let me know if you need more work. All right? Good luck, guys.